Other questions? Yeah, you, because you're holding your hand up like that.
Oh, no. Well, I want to thank you guys so much for inspiring me. I'm a filmmaker myself, and I've written short films, so I just want to thank you guys. And your furry story was amazing, by the way. I'm a furry, and I found that story hilarious. But as far as filmmaking goes, the technical side of it, what's the hardest as far as conducting a review? This question can go to both of you, just like acting or writing or actually setting the camera up or content, or like what's the hardest you find?
I think it's going to be different for everyone. Everyone's going to have their favorite and least favorite. I think for me, like, and surprisingly, Hitchcock had the same issue too. I don't hate it, but the part I like the least is the actual filming, which is so weird. I would think I would like that the most because I get to be over the top and I interact with people. The people I work with are great. But to me, it's like just the writing is the sky's the limit. You can think of whatever you want, and that's kind of fun. And then with the editing, you're seeing if it's working, it's coming together, and you're saying, okay, like this was worth the time, this was worth the effort, and it's becoming a story and everything. The filming is just like the in-between. Sure. It's like what you do to get to the editing. And my favorite part, surprisingly, is the editing. And it's so strange because, like, when I was younger, I would never imagine that'd be like my favorite part. But like I said, if something doesn't work on filming, a lot of times you can fix it in the editing. So that's probably my favorite and my least favorite. But I don't dislike any of them. It's that's my least favorite.
Sure.
That's my favorite too, is the editing, especially when, I mean, yes, sometimes like when you're on a long run of editing, then it can get really, really drain on you. But the editing, I think, is the most fun, because especially right after you had a hard shoot and you got like a lot of good footage out of it, it's like your reward. Is the editing, because you get to piece all that footage together. In fact, actually, when I film and I get good footage of things, I actually sort of get like an addiction, like not so much with the nerd episodes, but when they're like more cinematic episodes, yeah. It's like whenever you get like cinematic footage of things, then it's like there's like this almost this compulsion, like, oh, I have it edited in my head of what I just saw through the camera, and like I can't wait to get to my computer and edit that and see how these two shots match together. And it's just like, yeah, it's like my brain can't rest until that's done, you know?
There's something interesting too, is like, because I'm kind of like you, I have to sort of map down everything, but it's interesting when they don't go together. It's like, why didn't this work? Why did these two shots not to connect to each other? I mean, thankfully, for the most part, it doesn't happen too often, but it's like, then you can kind of learn for next time what you can do to make it so that it does flow more and stuff like that. But yeah, no, so I mean, I guess, yeah, same answer. The editing's our favorite. Well, what's your least favorite part?
I think the writing, or not even really the writing, actually, it's like the brainstorming, like before you actually get on a roll. Like once the writing gets on a roll, then it, it could be really rewarding. But no, the writing, it's so unpredictable, because like sometimes I'll sit there all day and just stare at a blank screen, and I just I can't get the ideas together. But then all of a sudden the ideas start coming usually at a very inconvenient time when you have to stop or go somewhere. But the writing is just unpredictable, because like how do you control when an idea comes into your brain? It happens when it happens.
I think there's something too, I mean, at least for me, when it always, even though I've done it a billion times and, it got it fine, when I'm on my way to film something, there's always a little stress in my head, because everything is on you. Because, we plan out how the shoot is going to go, and when people are going to show up, and they have things to do and stuff. When it's just you, it's not as bad, because it's like, who are you going to keep up? You. So, I mean, whatever, you can push yourself, whatever, but you don't want to push people that, are there and filming for you and stuff like that. You don't want to take up their time too much. So there's always a little bit of stress, and if something goes wrong, you have to come up with the solution. You have to give the okay. I've done it a million times, and I always know it's going to be okay, but there's always that little worry there. There's always that little stress before every shoot. But the nice thing is, when a day is done, you feel so good. Like, yeah, I did it. I got through it. And there's always kind of like that nice reward when you get through it okay, especially if it's like a clipless review, because those are especially long, and it's really nice when those come through okay, or they finish even ahead of schedule and stuff like that. So